Firstly, the 2024 Paralympics might be done and dusted, and athletes have been arriving in dribs and drabs this week, with some still to come back from France. South African Paralympic star Mpumelelo Mhlongo won 2 medals at the Games, gold and a bronze, and he joins us now via Zoom. He's still in France, enjoying it there, and let's see if we can find him there. He is Mpumi Mhlongo, 2 medals from the Paralympics. Bonjour.
Bonjour, Monsieur. Ninjane Kai.
Okay, I'm glad you're still remembering your roots there after winning gold and bronze at the Paralympics. But congratulations, firstly. I remember before you left, we spoke to you here. You said you would come back with at least 2 of those 3 medals, and you did just that. You must be delighted.
Listen, we're just fortunate to have been out there, packed stadium, represent the country with pride here in Nkosi Sigalela. At Stade de France once again. So yeah, we're just happy that we could give the country that joy that it gives us.
How happy were you to be one of the flag bearers, though? How was that moment? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, indescribable. I think that words don't really tell the full picture and really communicate how it feels and how overwhelming it is to be there when they call Afrique du Sud and the whole team is behind you. You just feel invincible. That here I am, I'm truly standing for the nation as the flag bearer right next to Kat Swanepoel.
And did it put a lot of pressure on you, or did you embrace it? Did you feel like you also needed to deliver now, considering that you were the flag bearer for the country?
Lutho. I thought that, obviously the flag bearing is bestowed to you as a person, and less so about your athletic performance, but really about how do you best represent the brand that is South Africa. That alone is a massive privilege. So I didn't think of it as, okay, now we have to go get medals. The job is done on the field, and it's not done at the opening ceremony.
But you did go and got those medals, and you broke 2 world records. Would these have been your targets going into the Games? How do you look at what you've achieved?
I think it's always difficult. We've got the complexity of being in a mixed class event for 2 of our events.
Yeah.
So we've always been the best T44 athletes. The T64s are strong. They're much stronger than our class. My coach was actually reminding me, like, hey, Wayne, listen, you're still undefeated ever since you started these games 10 years ago. There's no T44 athlete in the world that has ever touched you for a whole decade. So you just make sure that this is not the time that they catch up to you. Let's go, break our world records, go a bit further, and anything can happen on the day. And we're just fortunate we did it with so much happiness and so much joy, and it resulted in medals for the country.
And explain it to us, how you end up competing with these athletes that have a different classification, because many people are wondering, how do you break a world record and still not medal in the long jump?
I think the easiest explanation is that what happens is the Games have a certain amount of events that it can obviously partake in. Not every class can have 3 or 4 events. So our class is one of the newer classifications. So they just separated us after Tokyo. So they said, we'll only give you 1 event, but if you still love sport and you still love competing, we'll give you the opportunity to compete with the T64s, where you're probably never going to medal, you're never going to come close, which then sets the next challenge where we said, Aibo, don't count us out just because you think others are stronger than us. We fight with Mzansi magic. So we'll fight you until the end. We'll break world records. And if you slip up on the day, we'll find ourselves on the podium, which happened in the 200.
Yeah, and yes, you did. You finished 4th, and then you were elevated after the second place finisher was disqualified. But are you saying that the world record almost feels like a medal because you're competing with people in a different classification?
No, not necessarily. All I'm saying is that we walked away never defeated by a T44 athlete. So if things were fair in life, we would have had, 9 Paralympic medals by now with all the performances that we've achieved over the last 3 Paralympic Games. But it's good to show kids that life is not just about all fairness and it's an equal playing field. your current circumstance doesn't determine how you enjoy your lived reality. So if you watched me and you saw me, I was having fun regardless of whether there was a stronger class or not. We improved on our personal best, which is what matters the most. And that's the true medal for me, is that we're out there with the crowd. They shouted it for us as if we were the gold medal winners. Even the T64 long jumpers are like, Aibo, what do you have that we don't have, that this crowd loves you so much? Mhlongo, Mhlongo. I said, it's because I was like, because we know how to have fun in South Africa.
Yeah, so how different were these Paralympics compared to Tokyo when there were no fans, Mpumi?
No, massive, massive. I mean, you can't explain having 80,000 people in the stadium and what that does to you and how it elevates you to really want to bring your best, because you're not just doing it for the people back home. You're not just doing it for the South Africans around the world, but there are actual people who took off their time and came to the stadium to watch you. Sports enthusiasts, the French people, to showcase one of the best Paralympic Games ever hosted. That alone is the driving force that has allowed us to bring back these world records and medals.
And I believe amongst those 80,000 people, your mother and your wife were there. How was that for you then?
I'll tell you, listen, that was the actual medal that nobody can take away from us. Having my mom at her very first Paralympic Games, first time where she's on European soil. Wow. She did go out the country to Zambia for one of the sports awards on my behalf. And having my wife right there at the long jump, I'm able to look at her when I'm thinking, hey, I just need a little more oomph. She looks at me, she goes, babe, you've got this. You go show them that Shaka Zulu magic. And then we go back with the same energy, give a bit more until we get those world records and just show the world that it can be united on great performance.
Wonderful. So what's next for you? I believe you're on your way home now. What does the next few months towards the end of the year, what do you have in store?
I think the big thing is just rest, recover, celebrate with all the other Olympians and Paralympians for really another great edition where as athletes that aren't in rugby or football, we were able to represent our country. And then thereafter, it's about going back and giving academia its time of day, finish our doctorate. We forgot about that so that we could represent our great nation. Do a lot of talks and just good engagement so we can celebrate and share the learnings that we've had with the larger majority of South Africa that couldn't be there in Stade de France.
Talking about those learnings, just remind us again what you have studied and what this doctorate is on.
Yes, so I studied chemical engineering at the University of Cape Town. Moved on to my master's, currently reading towards my doctorate in chemical engineering, where we're looking at, basically it's the conversion of waste into an energy source. And we know that is a prevalent issue globally. What do we do with our waste and how can we convert it into energy? I don't have to tell any South African how important it is to have sustainable and reliable energy.
Unbelievable. So when can we expect you back home?
I'm back now. I'm at the airport, ready to fly. We go to Doha, so I'll be in South Africa at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at Oliver Tambo Airport.
Hopefully you get a well-deserved hero's welcome. But congratulations once again, 2 medals from the Paralympics, 2 world records, our very own Mpumelelo Mhlongo. Au revoir.
Thank you for having me.
Mpumelelo Mhlongo joining us there, definitely the star for Team South Africa at these Paralympics. We'll also wrap up just the whole games for Team South Africa to look back at how they view these 6 medals that they obtained from the games. Stay with us here on Sports Live.